Hello everyone, my name is Chris Morris and I'll be going over our working knowledge training. We're going to get into lesson 5 today, which deals with the Virtual Panels 4 software. We're going to be going over is how to get to that VP4 homepage and the options that are available on that page. And then we're going to get into adding an image that can be used in a panel. We're going to be getting into defining a color that could be used in multiple panels. And then we'll explain the different types of panels that are available in VP4. And today we're going to actually add a messaging panel, and these are just the different sections of a messaging panel that you have to set up: the properties, the layout, the color, and filtering finally. So getting right into it here, navigate to your VT3000 welcome page. You should know how to do that from previous lessons we've been through. Once you're on that page, simply select VP4. And you'll have the options that are available here. Administration is an important one. And we select settings. This is where your product key is stored. This is what determines how many panels you can create and which types those are. So if you were ever to purchase additional panels, basically your technician will give you a new key. You could either type it in here or copy and paste it from the email that you receive. Once you do that, simply hit save and exit, and that'll save that key and add those additional panels. The rest of this is more for technician if you're ever having a problem with VersaCall or specifically Virtual Panels 4. Just going to hit save and exit. I'm going to go to return home. The other thing here is a define color. So basically you create a color that can be used in multiple panels. Where that's important is if you need to change a color on a panel, if you have a defined color, you only have to change it in one spot instead of going to each individual panel. The other thing that we'll be going over today is media. It's basically how to upload images to be used in different panels. Then we're going to get into panels and the different types. And widgets are basically just small panels that you would create to place inside of a larger panel. They're created exactly the same as a panel, and you could select them for different cells inside of a panel. Last thing here that we go over in other lessons to proceed this is rotating panels. Basically, once you have panels created, multiples, you could select one to show for like 20 seconds and then select another to be shown for, say, 13 seconds. So for today, we're going to get into colors first. So we're just going to select that from our menu here. And as you see, we don't have any, so we're going to simply click the add button. And we're going to create a standard colored first. Basically type in the name for the color. If you want a description, go ahead and type that in. And then what you have here is a list of all the colors that have already been established in the system. So you can just scroll down, select one, it'll show up here in your swatch, and just hit save. As you'll see, it now appears over here. The other type of color you can create is a custom color. So we're going to basically hit add again, and we're going to just give it a name. Once again, you can type in a description if you'd like, and then we're going to select custom. And basically what we're going to get is a red, green, and blue slider. So we can slide those to create any type of color that we want. So here's like a brown color. So it'll show up in your swatch. Simply hit save. Now you have your custom color and your standard color. If you want to remove one, simply select it, click the delete button. Just keep in mind that it won't ask you if you're sure, it'll just go ahead and delete it. So we're going to return home from here, and we'll get into how to upload an image. So we're going to click on the media icon here. As it sees there's nothing here. Just going to click to add new. We'll give our file a name. I'm going to go ahead and upload a logo. Select choose file, and basically this will allow you to just go and find your logo. So I have the VersaCall logo here, show up in here. Your fit, so stretch means that however big your cell is, you'll stretch that logo to fit that entire cell. The other option is to keep the aspect ratio. So whatever the aspect ratio of that logo is, in this case, it would keep that and just fill the cell with it, but keep that aspect ratio so it doesn't get skewed. The other option is original size. So no matter how big the cell is, we'll always keep the exact same size of the logo or picture that you've uploaded. I'm just going to select to keep the aspect ratio and then select to upload a new cell. And if we click on it, we can now see that it shows me a thumbnail of it, and it shows all the the fields that I've selected for that. Upload new version would be if you wanted to replace that with a newer version of the file. Simply click that and just choose the file, and you could change the fit, but it'll keep the same name. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. The other type you could do is say just a picture for something. So I'm going to just say picture 1. I'm going to choose just a picture of a manufacturing floor. Do the same thing here, keep the aspect ratio, and upload. So now you'll see that that picture is in there. If you want to remove one, select it from the list, click the remove button. Once again, be careful because it won't ask you if you're sure, it'll just delete it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go in here to panels, and we're going to talk about the different types. For the purposes of just these lessons that we're doing in general knowledge, we're just going to be going over tables, which are basically like Excel spreadsheets, right? They allow you to add columns and rows, and then each one of those cells you can manipulate individually. The other type is a grid cell, which gives you ability to create a cell and then move that cell anywhere on the page that you want. It's not defined by a column or a row. So a combo panel basically allows you to add anything that's possible inside Virtual Panels 4. So that would be a text field. You can add tags, which we get into in later lessons. You can add widgets, any type of widget. You can add URLs to it, like if you wanted to put on there to view your home page of the office, you could put in that URL and that would show on the panel as well. And you could do you can create actions inside those, but like I say, we'll get to that in later lessons. Performance panel basically allows you to do everything except for the URL part of the combo panel. And the other ones here, you have an and-on panel, which essentially is just used for when you make calls. So no counts, no data fields, just straight an alarm. Is it active? Is it not? An informative panel is basically just allows you to place text or pictures inside of a cell. So if you wanted to show one to say, safety first, that would rotate through, you could create that with this. The last types are messaging panel, which is what we're going to create here today, but basically whatever text you have in your alarm field for your communication path, that's what's going to appear on these panels that we create. Dynamic panel is a custom option that is basically just used by VersaCall technicians. So getting into it here, I'm going to go ahead and select messaging panel. And first things we have here is the properties tab. So basically it wants a name for the messaging panel. So we're just going to call this is the refresh rate. So how often does the information on the panel refresh? It's in seconds. Default is 5 seconds, which generally works pretty good. You can select here for display the elapsed time next on the right hand side of the message. So I always suggest that you do, because you probably want to see how long it's been. There's different formats: hours, minutes, seconds, or just hours and minutes without seconds. Inactivity behavior, what that means is when there are no calls, what do you want to show on the screen? So by default it's set up to say no active calls, and the color that it is blue background with white text. You can change any of that by just clicking on it and selecting one of the colors from the color picker here. We could also select our defined color from the define tab as well. The other option that's available is custom. Works the exact same way. Use the sliders, create a color, and hit OK. We'll go ahead and cancel and just leave this as default. The layout. So basically what it's saying is the font style. So what font do you want it to appear in? There's Arial or Times Roman. So the message would appear in this font on the screen. The size of that font. It's basically a percentage. So as a general rule of thumb, if you have a really big monitor, 7 works great. If you're working on a smaller screen, something like 4 will work well. So messages per page, it just means that how many messages do you want to appear on this page, and if it's more than, so this is on 5, so it's more than 5 and it's 6, it'll just flip and create a new page to show that one other message. this you would probably have to play with depending on the size of your monitor. It's, would depend on how many messages can show on it. Paging interval, what it just means is how many seconds do you want to see that page with the 5 messages before it flips to the page with the 1 message. So 3 seconds is actually a little slow, a little fast, so generally set that to 5. Show the footer. So basically this means at the bottom of the page it'll show the date and time, and you can select that or deselect it. And this is just the alignment of where that's going to appear on that page, either to the left, the center, or to the right. The next option we have is color. So the first option is the color by state change. So if it's an active call, so here you go, or set message, right? So I've been activated. This is basically telling us that the background is going to be black and the text foreground is going to be red. Then once that message or alarm has been acknowledged, it's going to have a black background, but it's going to have white text. You can choose to blink that text, and all you would do is just select what color you wanted to change it to when it blinks. So this would basically change the background from black to yellow, and it would blink back and forth. The text would be red when it's blinking on black, and the text would turn black when it's blinking on the yellow. So it'll just flip back and forth. You can set up the same thing for acknowledge, however you want that to look. The other option is by time threshold. So basically what you're saying is that you want the text to change after, according to this, is 5 minutes. So when it's initially activated, say a couple, like 30 seconds in or 1 second in, whatever, it's going to be a black background, white text. After 5 minutes has elapsed, it's going to change that text to yellow. Background's still going to be black. And then after 10 minutes has expired, it's going to change the text to red. It's still going to keep that black background. I say you can click on any of these, select a different color, and it'll change. It'll show you on the swatch here. Blink works exactly the same way as previous screen. Just select the color. Filter group is an option that's coming. It's not available currently, so we're not going to go over that right now. The last option is filtering. So if you've created a filter group, which is gone over in later lessons, you can select that. So if you have a group that's set up where it only shows maintenance calls because you have a messaging board there in your maintenance department and it's only ones you want them to see, you would essentially select that group from here and add it over to the selected. If you can put as many as you want here, and they'll all show up over there. For some reason you make a mistake, oh, that one's not part of this, you can always select it and remove it. These options here are how you could choose not to see, say, the set message, so you don't want to see those, or the more common one is people generally maybe don't want to see the acknowledge message, so you just select it, and now the only messages that are going to show up are just the activation messages. Basically, once you get all your options together, I'm going to deselect this because I don't want to use any of this. You would hit save and exit, and now your messaging panel will show up here in your list. You can click here to delete it, and it would just remove from the list. Just be careful because everyone's not going to ask you. You can do a printout of it. Generally this is for a technician. He just wants to see what options you have selected. If there's a problem, it would just give you a new page like this. You can copy it, so if you want to make the exact same panel, you just give it a new name and save and exit. Now you have the other panel. It's exactly the same as the first one. The other option you could do, which is what we're going to do here, is basically you're going to hit view, and it's going to open a new page. And since I don't have anything active right now, it's just going to show me a straight screen with no active calls. Once there's a call, it's going to appear here with the message of the text of the communication pass text here, and over here it's going to show you the time that's elapsed. Go close this, and that's going to conclude this lesson today. That was an overview here. Just going to summarize. We've gone over that home page, what each one of those options are that's available there. We went over the different types of panels that are available, and we created a messaging panel, and we created we uploaded a picture or logo to the media section, and we also created a custom color. Practice app is basically would suggest to do is just navigate to that home page, add an image, delete one, add a standard color, custom color, remove them, and then create a panel for each one of those options, the state change and the threshold. Another option here, it has additional information, so this will take you to the virtual panels page, which is like an overview. We'll go ahead and click on that, and it basically comes up with each one of the options that we went over. If you select one, it will explain kind of what we went over a little bit here. Then here's some step-by-step guides. If we go back over to this page here, this is like the overview of panels, the overview of widgets, rotating panels, the media, colors, and administration, which is the administration is where I clicked on that icon there. And these basically tell you how to create a defined color, upload an image, edit an image, and creating a message panel. Well, I thank you for your time today, and look forward to you next time. Have a great day.